And responses? I recognize the member for the London West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And I want to begin by thanking the Minister for acknowledging the finding of terrorism and the Justice's ruling on the murder of 4 members of our London family. It has been an emotional and painful time for Muslims across this province and in my own community. And while this verdict cannot begin to fill the void left by such a senseless act of violence, it is an important step toward justice and closure. I rise on behalf of the official opposition to commemorate a somber anniversary. February 24th marks 2 years since Russia's unprovoked assault on Ukrainian sovereignty and peace, a brutal escalation of a 10-year conflict that has tested the spirit and resilience of the Ukrainian people. The horror and disbelief experienced around the world that day has been followed by awe and admiration for the bravery, determination, and commitment to freedom of Ukrainian women and men. The 2 years have taken a devastating toll. The United Nations reports that more than 10,000 civilians have been killed and 18,500 injured since Russia launched its full-scale attack. Almost 15 million Ukrainians, about 40% of the population, require some form of humanitarian assistance and are struggling with PTSD, depression, anxiety, stress, and sadness. 4 million people are displaced internally, and more than 6 million are living as refugees globally. As we sit in the quiet of this chamber today, sirens are sounding in Ukraine. Every day, people are injured and killed. Every day, people are losing their homes, their jobs, and forced to go without access to heat, electricity, water, or sanitation. The devastation of war is visible across Ukraine's beautiful countryside. And immense damage has been done to Ukraine's infrastructure and wonderful cultural assets, its heritage building, its works of art, its creative and cultural spaces. But despite the overwhelming challenges, despite the fear and uncertainty and the fatigue of war, the Ukrainian identity is strong and the Ukrainian spirit is not broken. Families are carrying on, schools have adapted, businesses have found ways to operate, and cultural expressions of resistance have flourished. These inspiring stories of courage, resilience, and solidarity have resonated around the globe, reminding us that Ukraine's fight is not just for the land, but for its right to self-determination as a free and sovereign state, which is why we must condemn Russia's actions and continue to stand with Ukraine. In my community, Londoners will gather at a rally on Saturday just to show support for our Ukrainian friends, neighbours and co-workers. London has long been home to a thriving Ukrainian community. This past October, the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress London branch celebrated their 70th anniversary in combination with the 65th anniversary of the Western University Ukrainian Students Association. It is important that we take time in our ridings and in this legislature to show Ukrainians that the world is still watching. We have not forgotten. Since the Russian invasion in 2022, London's Ukrainian community has worked tirelessly to raise support for relief efforts for the people still on the ground in Ukraine. They are running events to educate and inform Londoners about the invasion and helping approximately 6,000 refugees of the conflict make a new home in London and across southwestern Ontario, all while hosting the cultural celebrations, family and youth programs, holiday events, markets, and food sales that bring so much richness to our city. London has been privileged to host thousands of Ukrainian refugees, and they have already made a lasting impact in our community. But most of those seeking safety here did not imagine that they would still be in Canada in 2024, watching their phones for updates from family and friends at home or displaced around the world. On this solemn anniversary, let us commit to working toward a future where conflicts are resolved, not through acts of terror or the barrel of a gun, but through dialogue, diplomacy, and respect for international law. A future where every nation's sovereignty is respected, where people can live in peace without fear of terrorist acts or aggression, and where the ideals of freedom and democracy are upheld and cherished. Thank you, Speaker.